There it is again. Oh, boy. Sorry, Christopher.
Yeah.
Let's get to it. Best moves other than Shireen dunking on you on PFTPM, which technically would qualify since it did happen yesterday. Other than that, there is a trivia question. They keep telling me there isn't. Now there is. There is or there isn't?
No, there is. There's a trivia question, okay? So,
all right, go ahead.
All right. So, Danielle Hunter, your Vikings player who's a little bit disappointed with his contract right now. What country is he from? Do you know your team? Let's go.
I know that it's some country other than the United States. Does that count as a right answer?
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Jamaica. Get to know your team better. He's from Jamaica, man. Come on, man.
Let me mention something real quick there. This is not the year to be making the power play to try to get more money. Not this year.
No.
Not coming off of a season-ending neck injury with the market softening and you're making 14.4 on average. Next year, come back and play this year. Next year, make your power play. There was an article in The Athletic yesterday that said he's kind of venting to friends and he doesn't know what he's going to do. We'll see what he does, but he's under contract for 3 more years. All right, you get the first pick. Favorite moves, best moves, whatever we want to call it. Things
good.
you liked about day one in free agency, go.
All right. Well, I think that New England won the first day of free agency. They were the splash team.
Gotta be specific.
Well, I'm going to go with.
Take 7 moves in one.
Hey, all the moves. I'm going to go with. The whole thing they got, the opt-ins, all of them. They're all back. No, I'm going to go with the Jays. All right, Judon and Jonnu. Just those two specifically about what the Patriots did. We've talked a lot. Yes, they're front 7. There's no pass rusher there. Judon is great against the run. He's got a great physical presence. Of course, he can get after the quarterback. So that fits perfectly with Bill Belichick. We know that. He's the master of linebackers. The secondary's already in place. They need that. And then Jonnu Smith, well, Bill Belichick's also kind of the master of tight ends too. We know that. And that was a missing part of their offense last year. So they get that back. And a guy that has got a special talents. He can run like a receiver, yet he's going to be able to block and be the second tight end and the H-back and the fullback and do all those type of things. So, Jonnu and Judon, big-time moves for the Patriots. That's specific enough for you?
No, it's not, because it was supposed to be one. And I would have just gone with Jonnu Smith because that was the bolt from the blue. That was the lightning from the clear air out of nowhere. Holy crap, the Patriots are onto something. Then the question was it a fluke or was a storm brewing? And obviously a storm was brewing beyond Jonnu Smith. And when they got Matthew Judon, then it was a full-blown hurricane for the Patriots. For me, it's got to be Shaq Barrett. It's got to be.
Yeah.
To keep him with a $17 million base average, $36 million paid out over the first 2 years, the franchise tag would have been $19 million. It worked out well. They gambled. It was a calculated gamble. And the way that the timeline went, I firmly believe the Buccaneers made it clear to Shaq Barrett and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, here's the offer. It's on the table. As of noon Eastern, we start calling other pass rushers. So if you want it, you got it. There it is. Just let us know by noon what you're going to do. And it worked because by noon, right at noon, we find out he's staying put. He's taking that money. So when you consider Joey Bosa's at $27 million a year, and they got Shaq Barrett to stick around for what they're going to pay him, yes, it's a sign of the times, but also it showed that they were able to squeeze just the right way to get that deal done.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they played their cards right. They knew, the market, everything. They've done everything right ever since the playoffs started, basically. Playoffs were great. Super Bowl. Free agency's been great. Restructuring of contracts, franchise tagging the right people. I mean, yes, I'm shocked they kept all these guys. And you're right, got Shaq Barrett at a pretty good damn price. Well, I'm going to go to another one of the top contracts we saw yesterday, but get into the big uglies a little bit. Go with Joe Thuney. Yeah, I mean, we don't talk about interior offensive line, but man, one thing we know from last year, and it all came to fruition in the Super Bowl. I mean, we were saying a lot through the second half of the year. Man, Mahomes has been under a lot of pressure. Man, he escapes a lot, and he makes it look cool and makes 20-yard completions, but man, is he under a lot of pressure. When we go back and watch replays of a game, you wouldn't realize it. You'd go, wow, I can't believe how many sacks he actually avoided. Well, you got one of the best guards in football in Thuney. They needed that. Again, I don't know whether they're going to get into more of a balanced offense or they just want to be able to be better protecting and versatile as far as screen game, things like that, all of that. But they got the weapons in place in the pass game. Now it's about people protecting your star quarterback, and I thought that was a great move by them.
Question. With Mahomes, is it more important to have the protection on the outside or the inside?
You know, I thought about this a lot. He can have, I guess I would say really I'd rather have the inside with Mahomes. If you're going to make me pick either one, I feel like he can see the outside guys. He can make them miss, and he has that ability to now step up or step up and get out to the edge. It's hard, and even in that game in the Super Bowl, so many of the plays were Shaq Barrett looping inside and coming in, through the guard gap and those type of things, to where now he's got no choice but able to run back, and we saw what that did. So I guess what I'm saying is, I think you'd rather have him more protection in the middle.
And we've heard the explanations from the edge rushers as they try to track him down, whether it's lateral or whether it's just he keeps dropping back and back and back. What Von Miller told us at the Super Bowl last year, he just keeps going back and back, and you can't get to him. And he's got that rocket arm. He can release it while he's backpedaling. All right, next one for me, I'll go Corey Linsley if we're going to go lineman, because and you think about the net difference. You take the best center in football away from Aaron Rodgers, and you drop him with Justin Herbert, a guy who has the potential to be one of the great young quarterbacks, already one of the great young quarterbacks in the NFL, has the potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Brandon Staley and what they're doing out there to just try to kind of quietly build a team that's going to be as good as the Rams. If it isn't already, it's working in that direction. And yes, they have the Chiefs to deal with, but they're serious about doing for their quarterback what the Chiefs are doing for theirs. And that interior protection is so important, because if you've got guys at guard and center that just are very good and they start getting thrown into the legs of the quarterback, you can't get anything going offensively.
Right.
So the money's well spent. It's a guy who's going to be in charge of all the protections, helping Justin Herbert better understand the game. I was excited by that move for Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That's the kind of thing they have to do if they really want to become the team they can be, especially with Herbert under center.
No, definitely. Again, I don't know what they'll do at tackle going forward and all that, because Russell Okun's still a free agent, right? But I think the thing, or no, they have Trey Turner. I got them confused. They got Trey Turner at guard.
They cut him.
But they cut him, and then they re-signed Filer and Linsley. I mean, you got Joe Lombardi as the offensive coordinator. He came from the Saints. We know about the passing game, but the Saints have always been into protecting the quarterback and being able to be balanced and run the football too. And I think you see, a little bit of that there. So that's a great job by the Chargers. I think I'm going to go to the Jets, and I'm only going to say one last name, Davis, okay? But, that's two players. There's Corey Davis and Jared Davis. Woo! Two players. Bam! Got it. Yes, because first off, I think Corey Davis really fits what Mike LaFleur will want to do. I'm still getting Mike and Matt mixed up. He's going to be the guy, the route runner, that they feed the ball over the middle off the play action. He's going to do all that type of stuff. And I think it's a really safe bet and fits within how you want to play on the offensive side of the ball. Route runner who's got enough speed and things to beat you deep and scare you that way. And then Jared Davis, as you mentioned to start the show. I mean, he's one of those guys where, he pops on film. You watch the Lions the last year, you go, who is this big sucker, number 40, running around, taking on guards, knocking people's heads off and doing all that? He is going to be perfect for Robert Saleh. I mean, they both got bulging veins in their neck. They'll fit together perfectly. So I think that's a great signing by that group and Joe Douglas.
It's just funny. Yesterday morning after the show, I was talking to some people about some free agents out there that maybe we're not thinking about, and someone said, hey, there's a lot of teams that are interested in Jared Davis, and it's probably not going to be a long-term deal because he wants to establish himself because he wasn't used right in Detroit. It's probably going to be 1 year, $7 million. It was 1 year, $7 million for Jared Davis.
Yes.
I looked to see if there was a chance Carl Lawson's middle name was Davis, so you could have thrown
use all three.
But I can't find his middle name. Last one for me, and I'm going to go ahead and use two names as well.
Okay, fine.
But it's the move that wasn't made. It's that no team paid huge money to Juju Smith-Schuster or Kenny Golladay. I'll throw them both in there. No one took the bait. With Golladay, the injuries last year, where's the value there? Watch, you'll probably get $23 million a year by the time we're done in about 7 minutes. But the real one that stood out to me, there was so much buzz and hype about Juju Smith-Schuster. I know he brings so much more to the table than just what he does on the football field with the dancing on the logo and the social media presence and all that other stuff. But he's a number 2 receiver. What are you going to pay a number 2 receiver first day of free agency? And how do you justify that if you have anything other than a number 1 receiver who's stuck under a slotted rookie deal that you can't tear up?
Right.
You throw your entire pass receiver depth chart out of whack from a payroll perspective if you give Juju $15 million a year, because then you instantly have to give your number 1 guy $20. So I was happy to see the restraint exercised, that no one felt compelled to go make that big splash and say, we spent a bunch of money on a player who, while very good, I don't want to, this doesn't take anything away from Juju Smith-Schuster as a player. I was just concerned that the other narratives around him were going to cause someone to get caught up in the moment and screw up their overall salary structure offensively by paying him more than they should.
I hear you, Mike. I mean, he's an interesting one. You're right, because we talk about him, like he's a number 1 and a superstar, but he's not. What he really is a really good number 2. And you look at a guy like Corey Davis, who I think, that's what that is, right? A really good number 2. He got a 3-year, $37 million deal. I would bet you Juju's asking for more. Now, Golladay, that's a different conversation. He might be in the I'm asking for the $17, $18 million a year type of thing. And I get that, because I think Golladay is a legit number 1, but we got to go to commercial, and that's a good conversation nonetheless.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.